Here we go. Well, welcome, beautiful, magical souls, to Walk the Warrior Goddess Way. This is part two of our Write Your Warrior Goddess story, and I just need to kick us off with a little joyful fun, a little play. You see my bubbles? You see my bubbles?
Lovely.
Yeah, we're here to play tonight. And so I hope that you, whether you're watching this, you're participating live, or if a lot of you are watching the replay, and just entering into an hour together to play with our inner warrior goddess. And why does it matter that we play with our inner warrior goddess? That's some of the things that we're going to be unpacking tonight. So I invite you to engage in the conversation as fully as you feel comfortable. This is um, really just a community where we share and we learn from one another, and there is power in our story. There's power in discussions about things like resilience. We just listened to our opening song, Tub Thumpin'. Who knew that that was the name of the song? Give me jazz hands if you knew that that was the name of the song. I get knocked down, but I get up again, right? It is the ultimate battle cry of my warrior goddess right now. And I'm going to share a little bit about that. What did you just say, Phoenix?
I'm just laughing because, yeah, gosh, right?
And I get up again with the pair of crutches. That's what's happening for some of us. Yeah. So, what is it named? Tub Thumping by, I mean, come on. How are you gonna rise out of being a one-hit wonder when your song is Tub? I don't know, maybe there are more songs. Anybody else can name another song by this artist?
I never heard of him, just that song.
Yeah, just that song.
Mm-mm. Just
The
that I
anthem.
song. Never knew anything else. I didn't even know who did that.
Right. And
Now
then
I
yeah,
know.
so so it's a fun song though, and it's a great anthem when you're hitting the waves of life, right? Sometimes they crash over you, and a lot of times it happens all at once. We're going to be talking about that tonight. So what you can expect tonight or while you're watching the replay, I really invite you to carve out just a precious hour for yourself, where we're going to be understanding resilience as a warrior goddess skill. It is a skill. Okay. We're going to have some creative tools to access your inner child. Again, we're on my bubbles. I don't know if you can see in the background. I got my hula hoop out as well. And your
Wait, do it again. Do it again.
the bubbles?
Yeah, those are real. I thought you meant they were digital the first.
No, they're real. My little portable, you know, because every warrior goddess ought to remember to have a little fun and play. And it's amazing what just something like a little thing of bubbles can do to your childlike spirit, reawaken that sense. Because when you think about resilience, like children are such beautiful examples of that. Anybody who has seen second graders fight on the playground and then recover, it's pretty impressive. So both inner child and higher self, it's all facets of the multifaceted side of our warrior goddess. And then inspiration and invitation to take the next step. I just missed the letter I there. So let's get going with just a little bit of storytelling and context. And I wanted to share sort of what I am envisioning as, or wrapping in my story as the art of letting go, and really how resilience is a conscious practice, not just something that happens to us. So before I share my story, what are some of the ideas that you have about resilience? When you hear that word resilience, what comes to mind?
Kicking butt. Keep going no matter what.
Yeah. When you said keep going,
I can't answer your questions right now, but
Did
I'll get
did
back to
anybody
you.
else see Dory just keep swimming? Right? That's
Keep
resilience.
swimming. Just keep swimming.
Perhaps Phoenix can do some whale talk for us later today. I was
You know, I speak whale.
yes. Yes, you do. Okay, so resilience, keep going, keep swimming, kick butt. What was in the chat? Other things that resilience reminds you of.
Get back up on the horse.
Yeah. Yeah. And that imagery in and of itself is really a great one, right? It's literally get knocked down off the
Mm.
horse. Like if you get knocked off the horse and you get back up again, like doing refacing your fear and putting yourself back into the saddle, that is a beautiful expression of resilience. Anything else?
bouncing back, same thing.
Yeah, bouncing back. You know, this morning in the Joyful Soul Circle, we had a discussion about resilience, and one of the first definition that comes up in the dictionary is how a material object returns to its original form, like a rubber band. That is an excellent example of resilience, returning back to form, like you get stretched thin but you return back, right? The hope is that if you are that rubber band that is stretched thin, it doesn't snap. And if it does, hopefully you can meet your inner warrior goddess there. So let's start with a little storytelling. Y'all good with that? A little storytelling? And it's about the mystical wisdom of the Magi and how this system of the card science has helped me to understand the energy that I'm working with at a certain time in my life. So I have been dealt this week between my week starts on Wednesday. So from last Wednesday to this Wednesday, and then this Wednesday going into next week, over this 2 period of time, I have all 4 of these cards, the 9s. Now, some of you have been studying this mystical wisdom with me. And who knows what a 9 symbolizes, but either in numerology or in the numerology of the Magi. What are 9s all about?
It's about endings.
Yeah, it's about endings. It's about completions. What else?
New beginnings.
Yeah. It's clearing stuff away. It's removing things, right? And part of how the energy of the Magi works is it offers always a high side of the card. And 9s are also universal, very spiritual cards. In the deck of cards, 7s and 9s are considered to be the spiritual numbers. So there is a spiritual lesson if we are willing to look at it. So when I just came home from traveling in Colombia with the beautiful Phoenix, who is here present tonight. And for how many of you, jazz hands, if you have been on a spiritual retreat before, if you've been on a spiritual retreat before, if you have gone somewhere to a sacred land, you've gotten on a plane.
And started with charades, or are we leaving that out of the story right now?
You mean charades out of the story. But if you've been on a spiritual retreat before and then you come back into your reality, that is a 9 energy. You are already going to be moving through an ending of, this high vibe, high frequency where everything is dedicated to whatever the retreat has for you, but is generally to raise your vibration, to know yourself better, to love yourself better, to feel all the goodness of life. And then there's no laundry, and there's usually no cooking, and there's usually no, picking up socks off the floor and stepping over toys and all of that stuff, right? There's not the everyday reality. So already when you come home into reality, there's a transition. And I saw as I was leaving that I was going to have a 9 of Spades week. And the 9 of Spades is the ending of all endings, the grand toilet flush of the Magi. It is known as the death card. And in all areas of your life, you're looking at removals. And the high side to look at a 9 energy is to see that things are being removed from my life right now that I might not understand why, but they're being removed to serve a higher purpose. So if I can connect to the higher purpose, I am going to be a heck of a lot more resilient. I am going to be able to ride this wave with greater ease. And I mean, I don't know about you, but let it be easy, right? Endings aren't easy, but it can be easier if we don't resist and we allow. So I saw that I had this 9 of Spades week. And of course it was leaving the retreat. It was immediately going to move my daughter into college, say goodbye to her, really what feels like her childhood, right? To drop her off at school. And then I got in the car and I drove away. That was crazy ending right there. And then I had this 9 of Hearts, and the 9 of Hearts is not just my lifetime Pluto card as a 10 of Diamonds person, but it showed up in my roadmap, indicating that there was going to be a love ending. And indeed there was. I had an uncoupling moment with the person that I've been dating for the past several months. And I saw it coming. And so I wasn't surprised. I still felt the sadness. I still felt the pain. And it still felt like a lot, all happening at once. On top of the fact that some of my fabulous soul activators for the Rising of the Warrior Goddesses retreat informed me as I was checking in on the tail end of the Columbia retreat that circumstances had changed at home. Some obstacles had presented in their way that were going to make the original vision of the Rising of the Warrior Goddesses retreat incapable of happening the way that we had originally put it out and intended. Phoenix, who is here today, joyfully, I want to say joyfully broke her foot when we were in Colombia, you know, and she held it until I was coming home from Salt Lake City to have that hard conversation of, listen, I'm not sure what it's going to feel like. Do you want to share anything on that?
I think you knew before I was ready to be willing to know, because I messaged her because I'm like, I'm not even going to bother you with this because you have so much going on right now. And then when you were on your drive home, then I'm like, cool, I'll leave her a message while she's on the drive. I'm going to avoid the hard conversation. No, I'm kidding. But kind of. But no, she's like, yeah, as soon as I saw your x-ray, I was doing the mental math also. So yeah, just,
Yeah.
I mean, it was real, and I'm really glad it panned out how it did, because I didn't go to a clinic there because I could walk on it. It didn't seem
Yeah.
like it was necessary if I could walk.
Yeah.
I would have done it differently had we been here, of course.
True, of course, wouldn't have, yeah. So there are things that we can't foresee in life. We don't know what is down the path. We take that courageous leap. We give birth to something. The Rising of the Warrior Goddess is a passion project of mine that has been in my soul and my spirit for way longer than I gave it the form and the structure of, the retreat page where people can go and find out about it. And before people were enrolling and really envisioning themselves in Mount Shasta doing this awesome spiritual work of claiming our authentic power as warrior goddesses and activating our gifts as warrior goddesses, our soul gifts. So it was really, I had a moment of looking myself in the mirror and really looking at my ego in the mirror and having to say to myself, it is okay. There's something that you need to let go about this retreat as it is right now, because there are still available, there's vacancy in it. And my intention was that it would have been filled prior to going to Colombia, and then coming home and all these little variables hitting, including my own fatigue and grief with all the endings that I was experiencing personally. So at any rate, the nines, and then it's right now it is a Nine of Clubs week, this week of summer. And the Nine of Clubs is about letting go of old stories, mental stories that are no longer serving us, just releasing them. And then I have a Nine of Diamonds also in my roadmap that I don't need to touch on right now, but I have all four nines right now that are clearly indicating to me that the intention or the energy that I'm working with is a removal energy. And so what am I going to do about that, right? Like, how am I going to rise? So I have a soul purpose program where the signature signature platform of transformation is this rise system, where the R is the resilience. That is such an important piece that we understand as warrior goddesses, is how to ride the waves of change. How do we be, what I've said in the past, how do we be the pro surfer of our life, right? Like, ride that wave of change, cowabunga style, or whalabunga, like when we were in the South Pacific. But how do you ride the waves of change where you are connected to your highest version of yourself, your warrior goddess? So many of you who are listening to this on the replay that are present with me tonight, you participated in the Write Your Warrior Goddess story, where we looked at our hero's journey of our warrior goddess, and we kind of had a visualization of lots of areas of her of her spirit and her multifaceted essence. And today I want to continue that along because here's what happened. The next morning after this incredible loss, I was still feeling grief because it's okay. Also, I do want to say, even when you are aligned and you know that you're in an ending time, you're gonna feel grief. There's going to be a painful loss because we are humans and we came for the whole rainbow of experience of emotions. And all the grief does is point us into, like, it shows us the depth of how profoundly we loved something that and how we can release it and let it go so we can make room for something new. Cycles, we have cycles of completions that are important to pay attention to. We were talking about the rivers of the world. You know, I can talk about the Nile River. Where would you go if you want to visit the Nile? Not the Nile. The Nile. Sorry, the bad joke. Egypt, right? Yeah. Where would you go if you want to visit the Amazon?
South America.
Yeah, right. We know where these rivers are, but if you go and you look at the river, it is not the same river as 2 minutes ago. The water is always flowing and ebbing and changing. It is the perfect metaphor for life. It's constant and ever changing. That is our lives. We are here to evolve and to grow. And the resilience is accepting those painful turns, those hard obstacles, those fast no's, the removals, the breakups, the endings, and allowing it to transform yourself. So I took myself to the mountain because I know that that's what my warrior goddess loves to do. And she loves to be in the mountains, breathe the fresh air, went up for yoga. I had all these plans for how the morning was going to go. And a lot of them after the yoga, I ended up not being able to ride the chairlift up to the top of the mountain like I had envisioned because for whatever reason, I left my pass on my dresser at home that day. So I'm bawling and I'm heading down the mountain. Like the yoga was good, but it wasn't what I wasn't fully done expressing this letting go. And I had this restless energy and I found a spot that I could pull over to. And I got out of the car and I just screamed at the top of my lungs, just screamed this guttural cry because one, like it was like nobody was going to be freaking out that this crazy lady is screaming. But I screamed and I walked to the edge of where I had parked and I noticed a path. And that path led me down to this beautiful place. And as soon as I had this opening overlooking the whole valley, totally alone, I started crying out, Esmeralda. Esmeralda, 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 where are you? Now, Esmeralda is the name that I have chosen for my inner warrior goddess. Her name is Esmeralda. That name has been with me for a while, but I wasn't certain until, and again, tying back to Phoenix's foot, and part of this whole pivot and this change in the letting go of a vision that I saw for myself is the party bus. I just can't say it without laughing still. We were in Colombia for the Festival of the Flowers, and we signed up to be on a party bus tour, loud music and dancing. And that's the party bus's name is Esmeralda. And as soon as I saw her name was Esmeralda, I was like, oh my goddess, like this is amazing. Lots of signs for Esmeralda came while I was in Colombia, including the bracelet that I wear that is actually a gift from the retreat where I did the Soul Roadmap workshop. And it is an emerald. And Esmeralda means emerald. It's my birthstone. It's something that I've always loved, emeralds in the color green. And so Esmeralda, the name came to me. I cried out to Esmeralda. And then I was just like, show me a sign. Oh my gosh, show me a sign that I am not just crying out to the void, crying to my, like, what am I even doing here, you know? And really just asking for a sign. And I said, and then I was very careful because all of a sudden I saw snakes in my head and like I was like, okay, show me a sign that's not going to scare me. I would like a gentle sign that there's something greater here or that you're here, that your spirit is here. And then just said, show me the next step. Show me, where do I go from here? What do I do with what I've just been handed? And I was walking around and kind of moved to a different spot. And there she was, a dragonfly. A dragonfly appeared, and this dragonfly, in the middle, there's no water where I was. And so I'm not used to really seeing dragonflies in these spaces, but this dragonfly was very intentional about getting my attention and being with me. And I was at the time, I'm not sure what song I was singing. I think it was The Dance. I'm glad I didn't know the way it all would end, the way it all would go, and like crying and singing. And then there's this dragonfly, and then I start crying more and just like, oh my gosh. And it just circles over my head for like, I don't know how long. And I'm talking to the dragonfly because it was so clear to me that Esmeralda, my warrior goddess, has the ability to shapeshift. I was like, this is her. This is her in physical form coming to me and being like, I see you. I'm here with you. There is higher guidance. There is purpose in this. I'm with you and we'll get through this together. Just keep swimming. Just keep going. Yeah. Yeah. So I asked for the sign and she appeared. And later that day, I didn't get the answers right away or the download right away. I just got that calming sense of like, it's okay. I'm okay. I am supported. There's something I do not see in this. I do not understand what it is. And I'm going to keep going and I'm going to keep asking because the dragonfly assured me, and dragonflies are the symbol of transformation, of magic, of walking between worlds. So with that, I'd love to bring it back to everybody here tonight and everybody who's listening on the replay to think about. I'm going to put on a song that I played at the Soul Roadmap Workshop, the Soul Roadmap Workshop in Colombia by Michael Franti that goes with this theme of letting go. And what I want you to do is think about a recent time you faced a challenge. Recent. Okay, because I mean, there are many in a lifetime. This is my most recent one, right? It is still very fresh. I am still feeling the emotions through it. And as the song plays by Michael Franti, I want you to think about like what patterns do you notice about how you respond to adversity? And maybe you might even want to think back to other moments in your life where you have been challenged and maybe you see that a pattern has shifted regarding yourself in adversity. Which aspects of your warrior goddess showed up in that moment? Did you have a moment like I did where I called out to Esmeralda and she came? And it really doesn't matter if anybody else saw what I was doing. It was like, oh, that crazy lady is dancing and talking to a dragonfly. Like, what is she like? Who cares? It doesn't matter. It's for me. It's my inner warrior god. Like, it made sense to me. It actually was one of the things that made the most sense out of my entire week was talking to this dragonfly. And then also, how might you consciously tap into that strength moving forward? Because resilience fosters strength. It is a powerful, powerful tool of your warrior goddess to know when you're in the thick of it and how you respond to it and what it's calling you into. So let me get that song playing for you. It's about a 3-minute song and just reflect on these questions for you. I'll pull this screen back up, but it's going to take a little shift here of the magic behind the scenes. Actually, let's see. How can I do this? I have it linked. Well, I'll just do it this way then. And I'm gonna stop the recording for a second. Pause. I'm gonna pause that.